4 true hotel horror stories that will be sure to keep you up tonight. Earlier this year, I stayed at a DoubleTree in London, England for a business trip. The first few days were normal. Meetings, dinners, nothing out of the ordinary, until day 4. That's when I started hearing faint footsteps outside of my door. They'd pause, then shuffle away. I also began to get the feeling that someone was watching me. That afternoon, I found a flyer under my door with the DoubleTree logo on it. It read, "Want to skip the wait? Order room service online. Scan this QR code." I scanned it, logged in with my Hilton Honors account, and ordered myself dinner. The site looked legit, but after an hour, nothing was outside of my door. I called the front desk, but they had no record of any order coming from my room. I was weirded out by this, but just brushed it off as a tech glitch and ended up grabbing food elsewhere outside. That night, as I was coming back into the hotel, I passed a man in the hallway. His hoodie was pulled low, sitting by the wall, scrolling on his phone. As I reached the door of my hotel room, he looked straight at me. I went in and locked my door fast. The next morning, I noticed my balcony door was cracked open, even though I remember locking it. The man was there again the next day as I left my room, but this time, he was closer to my door. Something just felt very wrong. That night, I woke up to the soft click of a door unlocking, then footsteps inside of my room. I froze. My eyes barely opened. At the foot of my bed stood the man from the hallway. The glow of his phone lit his face as he was taking pictures of me. He'd used the fake room service site to steal my Hilton Honors login and used it to unlock my room with mobile key access. He stood there for a moment, then turned and ran. I immediately called the police, shaking and scared. Hotel security confirmed he'd entered with a mobile key and showed me security footage of him entering. He'd been outside my door every day at 3 a.m. 2 weeks later, the police found him and he was arrested for something completely unrelated, but he got charges added on for this incident. On his phone, they found dozens of photos of me inside of my room, in the hall, even me in the lobby of the hotel. He must have been stalking me since the moment that I checked in. I checked out that next morning, and I haven't stayed in a single hotel since, because now I know the scariest part of traveling isn't the room, it's who's already inside of it. So about 10 years ago, I visited some friends in Colorado. One night, we stayed at the Stanley Hotel, the same eerie inn that inspired Stephen King's The Shining. It's a legendary spot for ghost stories, and once even served as a retreat for tuberculosis patients. Some say over 1,200 people died there. We skipped the official tour and explored on our own, snapping photos of the staircases, windows, and long, empty halls. At the West Wing staircase, my friend Robert took several photos. Each showed a glowing orb at the top landing, hovering in the same exact spot. "Probably just glare," I said, but from every angle it kept appearing. Halfway up the stairs, I decided to take a photo, but just as I took it, a freezing chill shot through me. I looked. The orb was now on the stairs, hovering just one step ahead of me. Then Robert looked at me and said, "Dude, a blast of wind just hit me." He looked visibly shaken. We decided to end our ghost tour and just move on with our day. That night, after dinner and a drink at the bar, I went to bed around 1 a.m. But as soon as I shut the door, I felt this deep, creeping dread. There was a chair next to the bed, and for a split second, I thought I saw a man sitting in it. Middle-aged, black hair, legs crossed, just staring at me. I flipped the light on, but no one was there. I assumed that I must have just been seeing things and hearing things due to the environment that I was in and just shut my eyes and went to bed. But as I dreamt, I saw the same man in my dream, contorting his face, rolling his eyes back, with his mouth hanging open and his tongue out like he was mocking me or dying. During the night, I kept waking to the sound of children running and laughing in the hallway. Around 3:17 a.m., I snapped. I threw open the door, but no one was there. As I turned back into my room, goosebumps exploded across my skin. The air just felt wrong. The AC was off, but the bed covers were lifted 2 feet into the air, as if someone was under them. Then, from under the sheets, I heard a soft giggle. I quickly grabbed my phone, tiptoed out, and ran across the hall to my friend's room, banging on their door until they let me in. I didn't even explain. I just said I was never going back. The next morning as we were checking out, I stopped at the front desk. "Hey, I was in room 317 on the 3rd floor and..." The woman quickly cut me off. "Room 317, she said. "I figured we'd hear from you." "Why?" I asked. She smiled weakly. "It's just baby Michael. He's harmless." Harmless? To this day, I don't know who that man in the chair was. He still shows up in my nightmares, making faces at me. They didn't mention anything strange when I booked the room. Just a quick confirmation and a "see you soon" email from the Black Pines Inn. I ended up checking in late. The place was old, but elegant in a faded sort of way. Velvet drapes, brass keychains, and oil paintings where the eyes seemed to follow you. The woman at the front desk gave me a strange smile when I asked about the room. "3rd floor," she said, not quite meeting my gaze. "Room 313. There was a pause. I waited for her to say more, but she didn't. The elevator groaned all the way up. The hallway was dead silent, like sound didn't want to stay there. Room 313 was at the very end of the hallway, past a broken light that flickered on and off in slow, uneven pulses. Inside, the room looked untouched, too untouched almost. Plastic wrap still on the drinking glass, crisp, white sheets without a single wrinkle, air stale like the windows hadn't been opened in years. I sat my bag down and noticed something. No Bible in the drawer, just a small, leather-bound notebook. No title. I opened it. The first page said, "If you're reading this, don't sleep. Stay awake. Trust nothing after midnight." I thought it was a joke, a leftover prop from Halloween or something, until I checked the time. 12:03 a.m. Then the phone rang. I answered. Silence. Not dead air though. There was breathing on the other end of the phone. Scared for my life, I hung up and locked the door. I turned the TV on for noise, but it was just static. No channels worked, just snow. But faintly, behind the hiss, I heard a voice. "Turn around." My heart stopped, but I turned around. The mirror by the closet reflected the bed, the TV, the chair, and a figure standing directly behind me that wasn't there when I looked. I spun around to look again, but nothing. I checked the hallway, empty. Tried to call the front desk, but the line was dead. I didn't sleep, not even a blink. I just sat in the corner with the lights on, with my eyes open, gripping the chair arms like a lifeline. When the sun rose, I quickly just fled down the stairs. The front desk clerk looked startled to see me. "I'd like to check out," I said, trying to sound normal. She hesitated. "Sir, we haven't rented out room 313 in over 10 years. But how could that be? Someone rented it to me yesterday." She told me that this couldn't be possible. I asked her why not. She looked away from me before saying, "A guest passed away in that room. They just vanished one night and were never seen from again. The only thing left behind was a note in the drawer of room 313. I didn't even say anything. I just left. Later, I checked my phone to delete the call log, but it didn't list any phone calls after 11:58 p.m. But there was a new note in my voice memos. Just breathing. And then a whisper. See you tonight. I should have just trusted my gut that time I pulled into the Sunset Motor Lodge at 2 a.m. The neon sign buzzed and flickered, casting sickly pink lights over cracked asphalt. But after 18 hours on the road, I was exhausted and sleep mattered more than anything to me at the moment. As I walked in, I noticed that the night clerk was sitting behind bulletproof glass. His eyes were bloodshot and he was glancing nervously at the parking lot. Room 12 is the only room we have open, he muttered, sliding a key through the slot. And it's cash only, no questions. I reluctantly agreed and slid him $60 cash for the room. Room 12 was at the far end of the L-shaped building, far away from the others. The door stuck, groaning as it opened. As I entered the room, I saw that the carpet was stained everywhere. And the smell? It was a sharp mix of bleach and something metallic. Dark stains marked the bedspread. The mirror in the bedroom was cracked. The tap sputtered rust before clearing. All of this was definitely concerning to me, but I was so tired that I just thought, hey, I'll sleep here and leave right away in the morning. No harm, no foul. I didn't even take off my socks and just collapsed fully clothed on the bed and was out cold before I knew it. But then I woke up to whispers outside of my window. 2 figures by a white van were dragging something heavy across the gravel. Rolled up carpets, it looked like. One had a hand sticking out. I froze, watching. One man was the desk clerk. The other man wore a stained apron and just stood watch. This is the last one, I heard the clerk whisper. Then we can clean up before morning shift starts. What about the guest in 12? The clerk chuckled. Same as always, checkouts at 11 sharp. They finished loading and quickly drove off. I finally breathed. I wasn't a guest. I was a name on a list. I quickly grabbed my keys, eased my door open, and stepped into the dark. My car was the only one left in the lot. Every shadow looked like a trap. Halfway there, I started to hear footsteps. Going somewhere? I turned. The clerk stood 20 feet away, holding something shiny in the streetlight. Checkout isn't till 11, he said, stepping closer. House rules. I ran. His footsteps thundered behind me. I fumbled with the keys, dropped them, cursed, but finally got the door open. The engine roared to life just as he reached me. He slammed his fist against the window as I reversed out, tires screeching. In the rearview mirror, I saw him standing in the road, watching until I disappeared into the night. I didn't stop until I hit a crowded truck stop 50 miles away. That's when I stopped and called the police. When they arrived, the motel was abandoned. No clerk, no van, no evidence. Just empty rooms and the lingering smell of bleach. They called it a prank. But I know what I saw. And I know the Sunset Motor Lodge is still out there, waiting for the next exhausted traveler to stop by. To this day, I still check out of every hotel room at exactly 10:59 a.m.